I'm starting to get real mad at this man right here, because we have been waiting for well over a year. I mean, we've really been waiting since Conor McGregor broke his leg to wait for Conor McGregor's return. I mean, literally, when he broke his leg, we were like, when is he going to return? Who is he going to fight? Is it going to be Dustin again? Immediately, talk started happening, because yes, Conor is the biggest superstar in the sport, right? There is no debate. There is nobody even close to Conor's superstar status. I mean, you could maybe debate second place, but you cannot debate number one has to be Conor McGregor. And as you guys know, Conor McGregor broke his leg. I believe he was 32 years old or just turned 33. He was a pretty young guy, and look, that is a terrible time to have an injury, because that is when you are, in your prime, that athletic prime you have between like 32 to 35, early 30s, you know what I'm trying to say? Normally we see fighters have a lot of success, right? That's when Kamaru Usman, went on that massive run as a welterweight, and it looked like that the injury would be bad enough on Conor McGregor's career. But finally, the guy is able to train again. We get word that he was going to be fighting Michael Chandler, and that they're going to be doing the Ultimate Fighter together. And this is where I'm going to start to take out some of my anger, because I was mad at the UFC all day just a couple days ago when I found out the news about Conor McGregor. But before we get into it, I want to remind you guys to subscribe, like, comment, and share. We're trying to hit 12K, so if you guys could just help me with that goal, I'd very much appreciate it. And just comment in the comment section below. It really helps with the algorithm, and share the video to other people. And let me know in the comment section below, when do you think that Conor McGregor is going to return, or will he never return? Let me know in the comment section below. Now, Conor McGregor, right, he breaks his leg, comes back eventually like a year and a half later, and says, look, he's going to fight Michael Chandler. Dana White announces it and says they're going to be doing the Ultimate Fighter together. Now, if you guys missed it, I did a reaction to every single episode of the Ultimate Fighter and broke it down for you guys, so you guys didn't have to watch the show. And guys, I might have been the most delusional man alive looking back at some of these clips, and I know some of you guys had commented telling me I was delusional, but I genuinely believed I was in the right here, guys. If you guys recall, at the time the Ultimate Fighter started airing, the rumor was, hey, Conor McGregor would return in September. So then I was like, okay, fine, let's wait, let's see if Conor McGregor returns. And I told you guys, I said, look, I think September is still a possibility. And then we got further into the show, and then it became December, and I was hell-bent on December. If you guys recall, I made a video breaking down the alleged leak release date for Conor McGregor's return, which was apparently December 16th, which we know was not the case, but I was believing, hey, it could be December. Then I was a proponent of UFC 300, man. I was in denial until we heard International Fight Week, and I think many of us expected this to be the last, pushback, the last delay for Conor McGregor's return, and I think most of us took Conor McGregor's word on this, right? It didn't seem like the other times. It seemed like, look, there was an official dinner with Dana White. It seemed like that's what some other media outlets had been reporting, so it did seem like that was a possibility. And then a couple months pass, it's February, it's just a nice Wednesday, I'm enjoying my morning, and then I go on Twitter to see Dana White say this.
No date.
Come on,
Dana! I'm hoping for fall. We get it done in the fall.
Dana White, what are you doing here? Do you guys just hate money? What is going on? Why is Conor McGregor now being pushed back to the fall? There's a couple possibilities. I'm going to get into why, but I want to also talk about why this is so important, why I'm so mad about this. So let's get into that first, all right? Why am I so mad about this? Conor McGregor, he is the biggest superstar in the sport. As I said in the beginning of the video, no debate. You can't argue with me. He is. And here's the truth. The guy is 35 years old, and I'm going to get into Chandler in a little bit, because Chandler's another guy massively getting screwed over by this whole thing, and we're going to get into him, trust me. But when it comes to Conor McGregor, I mean, let's be real. Conor McGregor probably has, 2 years maybe in mixed martial arts left. I mean, assuming that, he even wins that Chandler fight, which you never know. I mean, we've seen guys like Anderson Silva. We've seen recently Chris Weidman step back in the octagon with a broken leg and then immediately tear his whole knee. Breaking your leg is a serious injury, all right? And that's why I really do support Conor McGregor, using those steroids, because at the end of the day, yes, it has to heal properly. Chris Weidman was a guy that didn't do it at all, and people point to him and say, well, why was Chris Weidman on steroids? Look at Weidman's performance in his return, and you'll see why McGregor is using steroids. So I honestly am one of those guys that have been defending Conor McGregor. I get it. I think if any athlete, suffers that kind of injury, yes, maybe, take some time off, get out of the pool, do what you got to do, and come back when you're clean. That is my stance on it. That's always been my stance on it. And it's just that now he is 35 years old, and let's be honest, usually when we see guys get past that 35 age, they never really look the same. Look at Kamaru Usman. Once he turned 35, he lost to Leon twice, lost to Hamza, and yes, Kamaru Usman is very good. I think still, in my opinion, I think he's underrated. I think a lot of people are hating on him too much, but this isn't about Kamaru. This is about McGregor. And look, McGregor's already been out for a long time. If you guys remember when he fought Dustin the second time, one of the massive reasons he said that he felt like he lost was due to inactivity, right? And at that point, that had been 1 year. When he comes back, if it truly is going to be the fall, we're talking over a 3-year layoff, and that's even if it is in the fall, because I would not be surprised if we're here in 2025 still talking about Conor McGregor's return. So now you're wasting this guy's, this guy probably could have fought maybe at the end of last year. I mean, maybe December. I get Conor McGregor did do some, mistakes with USADA. I know that he did submit his samples really late. But look, there should be no excuse as to why he can't fight at UFC 300. It makes sense. Conor says, look, he's good to go for UFC 300. Chandler's good to go. So what is going on? Why isn't it, first of all, at UFC 300? Why is it International Fight Week? And why is now all of a sudden fall? Not to mention that Michael Chandler's also getting screwed in this whole thing. Michael Chandler last fought in November of 2022, right? If you guys remember, against Dustin Poirier. So by the time he comes back, even then, that's going to be over 2 years for him if it does happen in the fall. So you are now wasting, Michael Chandler's last years of fight. I mean, the guy is like 38 or 39 or something like that. The guy is really up there in age. He's getting close to 40. And Michael Chandler's the guy that has had tons of wars, right? You look at the fights with Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, and even in the fights at Bellator, right? Look at the fight with Eddie Alvarez. The guy has taken a lot of damage throughout his career, and just the older and older he gets, the more inactive he is. I mean, the less it really favors Michael Chandler and the more it hurts Chandler. And I think we could all tell Chandler's really fed up. If you look at some of his social media posts, you could see that he's kind of throwing some shade at Conor. But let's talk about some reasons as to why it might be delayed. There's a few theories, and I think one of them is probably true. One of which is my own theory. Maybe that Conor McGregor re-injured himself. Maybe Chandler injured himself. You never know. I mean, injuries happen all the time. I mean, these guys have probably been training consistently day after day ready for this fight. I would not be surprised, especially with McGregor's leg injury, if maybe something else got hurt, maybe he tore something. I mean, to be fair, we've known McGregor to fight through injuries, but I still think that it's a possibility. Maybe that's the cause of the delay. Another possibility is something that a lot of people have been circulating around social media is involving Conor McGregor's drug testing. Now, as you guys know, Conor McGregor, when he broke his leg, it seems pretty apparent. I mean, everyone kind of knows this. This hasn't been confirmed, but allegedly Conor McGregor did take some steroids, got out of the USADA testing pool, and it was really to help repair his leg. Some of those steroids could help with bone growth, especially HGH, which most people think that Conor McGregor was on. And like I said, I talked about it early on, I get doing that, especially with an injury like that. And some people have theorized, look, maybe Conor McGregor is still testing positive. Maybe there was just something in the process that is going wrong and preventing him from once again being able to compete. Like maybe Conor McGregor hasn't been able to test negative yet. The third possibility is potentially maybe the UFC is just waiting for the correct moment. And we've seen this in the past, right? With the Dustin Poirier fight. If you guys recall, right, Conor McGregor fought Cowboy Cerrone. Then COVID happened, and McGregor wanted to fight a lot in 2020. But the UFC really barred him and kept him away for over a year. Even Conor McGregor got so frustrated and unretired from the sport and tried to fight Dustin in a charity match not even involving the UFC. This was covered very well in Conor McGregor's new documentary. It's on Netflix. It's called McGregor Forever. I suggest you guys check it out because you could see McGregor's frustration and the UFC doing this. And yeah, it's happened in the past, so I wouldn't be surprised if maybe this is happening again. However, the fourth theory is, in my opinion, the most likely and what a lot of people have been saying, including some reporters kind of hinting at, which it might have something to do with Conor McGregor's contract. Now, if you guys recall, this is a very similar situation to the Nate Diaz stuff that happened a couple years ago, but essentially it goes like this. McGregor right now has 2 fights on his UFC contract, right? Obviously, his next fight's going to be against Michael Chandler, but there's a potential that after the Chandler fight, McGregor is saying, look, I want to fight guys like Manny Pacquiao, maybe Nate Diaz in boxing, maybe he wants to fight a Jake Paul. I don't think he would want to fight a Jake Paul, but maybe he would. I don't know. I'm just saying, regardless, he probably sees that there's some more money in boxing, maybe wants to go over, and I don't blame Conor. I mean, this is now the second time that the UFC has delayed his return, wasted years of his prime. Like, it's really selfish in their part, and maybe the UFC is recognizing this and saying, look, we need to slow this guy down. We need to get this guy to sign a new deal before he fights Chandler. We've seen them do this before with Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz, if you recall, back in 2022, wanted to fight in January 2022. He wanted to fight Dustin Poirier, and the UFC basically was going on throughout the whole year trying to negotiate with Nate Diaz and said, look, if you don't resign, we're giving you the Khamzat fight. And of course, Khamzat's a beast. That would have been a one-sided matchup if it had happened. And I don't need to get into the whole Nate Diaz stuff as to why he didn't fight Khamzat. But my overall point is that the UFC is known to hold guys that are really big stars that want to leave in order to pressure them to sign a new contract. And that could be what's going on here. They could be just pressuring McGregor a lot and saying, look, we're going to push this to fall if you don't sign this contract. If you sign this contract, we'll get it done for International Fight Week. Maybe they even say, hey, we'll get it done for UFC 300 if you sign this right now. And they're going to try to lock McGregor in for like an 8-fight contract, something crazy like that. And McGregor's obviously a massive star. And it's just selfish, man, because at the end of the day, McGregor, he is going to get older, and at some point, he's not even going to be able to make money in boxing because, yeah, everybody has an expiration date. McGregor's coming off of a massive leg break, a big injury that a lot of fighters don't even come back from. So the fact that the UFC is even delaying this farther and farther for him and Chandler too, it's absolutely ridiculous, man. I hope that they sense up. Hopefully it happens at UFC 300, but I doubt that. Let's just hope for International Fight Week at this point. But anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching. If you guys want to check out my previous video talking about Alexander Volkanovski and some of the dark stuff that he has to say in his recent interview and how that might affect his fight on Ilia Topuria, go check that out. It's on the screen. Also, check out my video talking about Tyson Fury fighting Alexander Usyk on May 18th, the fight getting scrapped and everything and that whole drama. Go check that out there. Thank you guys for watching. You guys are the best fan base in MMA, and I'll see you guys in the next one.